Welcome to This Week in AT. This Week in AT, April 28th, 2025. Divisiveness in Athletic Training Service. Why nobody can seem to be right and how it impacts the profession. The situation that emerged in AT last week with the communication about the elimination of athletic training positions within the Army's H2F program sparked a lot of work and buzz within the profession and AT social media. Rightfully so. Along with the buzz of connecting with state representatives and other government officials, a more contentious side of the profession also emerged. Parenthesis. This tends to happen anytime NATA gets involved. End parenthesis. There is a divisiveness around service and associations within athletic training, and the dichotomy is intense. We take a look this week and try to better understand why. My history of volunteering service. I felt it was important to give a little context of my own experience with service. This is not because it is to boast or, quote, look what I have done. It's just to provide context. My own service journey started about 4 or 5 years ago when I thought it was important to start getting involved and try and make a difference within the profession. I've been certified for 16 years. It started with volunteering on a state leadership committee, evolved into running unopposed for a regional rep position, parenthesis, I won, and moving into the treasurer position when it was suddenly vacant. Most recently, I was selected to join the NATA COPA subcommittee on public safety. The ability to try and help impact, especially at the state level, was an amazing experience and one I hope to get back to after moving states. So much work is done to impact legislation, try and grow membership, increasing engagement, and generally make an impact. It truly feels like you can make a difference. Now more on the divisiveness. Thoughts from both sides. The athletic training profession is not huge, but what we do is vast. As a relatively, quote, young healthcare profession, there are so many aspects that need attention to keep driving the profession forward. Saying all that, it begs the question, if we are all in this together, is all the animosity actually worth it? If we are unable to get past our own issues within athletic training, in the back and forth of membership within the NATA, and the, quote, what has the NATA done for me lately, end quote, how are we supposed to keep the profession growing? There tends to be so much animosity within. We have a hard time moving forward and working with other professions to ensure we can practice at the highest level of our education and making legislative progress to do so. Another key concept from both sides is to consider, quote, don't throw stones if your own house is made of glass, end quote. More in depth below, but as the association, you cannot turn away members that want to contribute. It is essential to bring them in through whatever capacity possible and acknowledge them when they connect. From the non-member / potential critic side, it's hard to continue to complain about the association, but come to them when you have a problem you want them to solve. The service / association side. My favorite quote on leadership is from Simon Sinek from the book Leaders Eat Last. Quote, leadership is not a license to do less. It is a responsibility to do more. And that's the trouble. Leadership takes work. It takes time and energy. The effects are not always easily measured, and they are not always immediate. Leadership is always a commitment to human beings. End quote. If we consider people who volunteer for service positions at state, regional, and national levels, or other associations for different settings as leaders, there comes a responsibility with taking those roles. It can be hard and thankless at times, parenthesis, or the majority of the time. In these roles, though, people cannot afford to miss connecting with members, but being open to calling in athletic trainers who can provide unique knowledge on a particular issue. There has to be a consistent willingness to connect with and accept all comers, especially when it seems like a lot of groups are, quote, always looking for volunteers. This isn't easy. As we mentioned earlier, leadership takes work. Funding for membership is a core of association work. Yes, there are sponsors and other options for revenue, but the foundation of it is membership dues. This can be especially true at the state level. Transparency can go a long way in answering a lot of questions on how funds are used and the goals in which resources are directed. I believe if you're going to ask for money, you should not be ashamed to to show how you are utilizing it. These are nonprofit organizations, and while they need to be run well, I believe transparency needs to be increased. If there is something you aren't wanting to share, that deserves deep reflection on how the organization is being run. The individuals. The NATA, regional and state organizations do a lot for the profession. Most of it goes unseen. Speaking from my time in service, we were always looking for volunteers for committees and for board positions, as most of those positions ran unopposed. The people in these roles are dues-paying members, and trust me, the, quote, perks either don't exist or are much less than you think they might be. Everyone in athletic training has a right to their opinion, member or not. I personally believe that criticism can very easily lose its impact if you don't have skin in the game, or anything other than a comment to back it up. At the national level, yes, getting involved can be more complex because the positions are fewer, but there is much you can do to have an impact. Consider going beyond posting on social media about your displeasure for something and try to get involved. Back it up with dues at any level, and even more so through getting involved and trying to make the change you wish to see. Not so hot take. There's a concept I generally believe in my professional life that I think applies here. If you're given an opportunity to change something or give your input and you don't take that opportunity, you generally lose your right to complain about it. As with everything, that comes with nuance. The timing in your life might not be right. There might not be the highest impact position available, or a number of other factors. I do believe the principle generally stands true that if you don't start the process of engaging in opportunities to make a difference, any criticism only goes so far. I also believe in nonprofit and service work. You must absolutely keep the focus on those you serve, even when it becomes exceedingly difficult. It is always an option to criticize something you contribute to, i.e., yearly dues. And even if you aren't a member, that doesn't prohibit you from giving your opinion by any means. I do believe it becomes much more impactful if you've done what you are able to do to help fix the issues that you see and create the change you think there should be. If, a big if, we can work together, the profession can move forward, hopefully, and get out of our own way on a few things. Tune in next week to get the happenings in AT with This Week in AT.